Now you can, I'm telling you this particular story where I got money. I was paid for doing this story, okay? I'm going to tell you the story now. It is in 1999. It involves Speaker Justice D.F. Annan. In those days, journalists could not broadcast from Parliament like we can do today. So this is what I used to do. I want the parliamentary chamber. Is it going to come? Yes. So this is the Chamber of Parliament, okay? So Justice D.F. Annan sits at the Speaker's chair. To his left is the minority. So you have Gladys Asma, and that's why Gladys Asma is here. You have Gladys Asma sitting there. So I had a tape recorder, okay? On this particular occasion, it was an emergency sitting of Parliament. The minority had called for an emergency sitting. And they had, it was question time for Richard Kwame Pepra, the Minister of Finance. Where is he? I'm going to show him in a minute. Richard Kwame Pepra was the Minister of Finance. And he had come to Parliament on an urgent question time. The question was in the name of Kofi Konadu-Apreku, who was a spokesperson on finance. Kofi Konadu-Apreku had alleged that Richard Kwame Pepra, as Minister of Finance, had paid for a presidential jet, Gulfstream 3. And that story had come from Chronicle. William Nyako, the Eternal Chronicle investigative journalist. I hope he's around. Hi, Willie. Good to know that you're still around. Willie had published a story in the Chronicle that the government had already paid for the Falcon plane Gulfstream 3 for Flight Lieutenant Rawlins, and Chronicle had alleged that it was for Rawlins' personal comfort. They had alleged all sorts of things about the transaction. Kwame Pepra was the Minister of Finance. Kofi Konadu-Apreku had requested Kwame Pepra to come in for question time, emergency session of Parliament. I smelled the story and I thought I could get a breaking news out of this. If I get a breaking news out of this, I'm going to get money, because at Joy FM, you'll be recognized for doing the work. All the time, you'll be recognized. In those days, I don't know about now, I guess it's still the same, but you will always be recognized for doing the work. So I thought, what do I do to break this story? I'm in the press gallery, everybody's writing, everybody's there. I take my tape. I go to Auntie Grace. I said, Auntie Grace, I want the recording, like the live one, when people are talking. How are you going to get it? Just open your recorder. I said, no, where I'm sitting is far. If I open my recorder, it doesn't come. She says, okay, give me your recorder. She took it and took it to the Chamber of Parliament here. I think she put it either on her table or she gave somebody behind her, like Papa Uso and Kuma, somebody like that. I think so. I can't remember well. So my thing was lying there and it was getting the feed big like that, loud. So Kwame Pepra was answering the question, and he admitted to Parliament that in fact the government had purchased it, and he said that the government purchased it because of the urgency of the situation. Can you imagine how the uproar from J.H. Mensah? J.H. Mensah said, what is urgent about the president's presidential jet? But anyway, Kwame Pepra said the urgency of the situation, and so he had done it, and that he was coming to Parliament. He was thinking about coming to Parliament for ratification. That's the explanation he gave to Parliament. And then came our man, Adom-Otchere Akufo-Addo. He was minority spokesperson on legal and constitutional affairs. He rose up in his fiery self and said, Mr. Speaker, this is wrong. Why does the finance minister sit in the secrecy of his office to determine things on the public budget, and he wants to come back to Parliament for ratification? The national constitution forbids him to do so. It was loud, rah, and MPP walked out on Akufo-Addo's words. You know, those days it was like that. They all walked out. I still remember it. The finance minister cannot sit in the secrecy of his office and do transactions with the taxpayers' money and come to Parliament for ratification. The national constitution forbids him to do so. I remember it. That's what he said. It was on my tape. I took the tape, went to Joy FM. The next morning show, Komla, you know him already. Oh, he kept playing it and playing it. Then there was uproar in Parliament. Hey, how did the thing get out? I showed up in Parliament, I was in trouble. They said, hey, come, you did it. Come, go to Speaker. I walked with my hands behind me. I went to D.F. Annan. Unknown to them, D.F. Annan had been like a father to me. And he didn't know that I was in Parliament doing this work. He thought I was in university. Because D.F. Annan was a member of the PNDC, okay? I grew up in Burma Camp. Now, he brought his 2 children to school in Burma Camp. In those days, they used to do that because of protection, security, and all that. Those 2 children became my best friends. They're still my friends, Victor and Mary Annan. Mary is abroad, Victor is here. And I used to go and visit them in their house in near Metro TV, Laboni, where Samia Nkrumah now lives. which is the house that was eventually given to Samuel's family as compensation for Nkrumah, Fatia, something. That was D.F. Anan's house. Those of you who know Laboni, Morning Star area, that was D.F. Anan's house. That's where he lived with his family. And I used to go there, so he knew me. So when I showed up in front of him, he looked at me and said, is that Paul? I said, yes. He said, how is your mother? I said, my mother is fine. Of course, my father had died. They all knew. So everybody sees me, how is your mother? A standard question. I said, my mother is fine. He said, but what happened? I said, I was... He said, but what are you a journalist? I said, have you finished? I said, no, I haven't finished. He said, he was quite confused, you know. But then the matter deflected because this was his son. He's not going to punish him. Okay. So they told me you can't do that in Parliament anymore. Joy FM were concerned. I went back to Joy FM. And in fact, before I went to Joy FM, Samens had called me. Where is Samens? Samens had called me and said that, Adom, yesterday, what happened in Parliament? I said, nothing. He said, hey, what happened? You are in trouble. You are telling me nothing. I said, what have I done? He said, what happened in Parliament? I said, nothing. He said, did you bring some recording to Komla? I said, yes. He said, but where did you get this from? I said, oh. He said, Charlie, you're in trouble. Where are you? I said, I'm a Legon. He said, come to Joy FM. You're in trouble. There's a problem. There's a problem. I said, I say, you come. So I went. Samens was there. Komla is there. Adom-Otchere is there. They asked me, what happened? I told them the story. They said, but have you done something wrong? Adom-Otchere then asked his father for the legal opinion, Peter. Peter said, no, but Parliament's a public forum. Why can't a journalist record? I was happy. He said, oh, my old man says you can record. Parliament's a public forum. We shouldn't be afraid of anything. I mean, in those days, Joy FM was touchy. You know, they had arrested Marco Zomelo and Kosa Mensah. This was just a big deal. So as soon as the thing came, Gabi was told, Charlie, call your old man and ask him whether we can get some legal defense because Paul has put us in trouble. So he called and said, no, we are fine. Oh, Parliament is a public forum. Why can't a journalist record? That was Peter's view that he told his son, who told us that we are fine. So I went to Parliament with quite a bit of confidence, you know. When I came back to Joy FM and I told them the story that everything is fine, they rewarded me. That's a breaking story then. Now it's qualified to be a breaking story. Before you had put us in trouble. But now, so no station has it. That was Chrissy's. So I said, nobody has it. We are the only people. We are the only people. Breaking story, go to the accountant. Breaking story, go to the accountant. So in terms of doing your journalism work,